Let's talk a little Tea Party. By the way, that's Taxed Enough Already Party. Capital T, capital E, capital A Party. Taxed Enough Already. That's how it got started. And one of the questions is what's the nature of this group, this movement? And as we get into it, we might want to compare it a little bit to the Occupy movement. But let's first of all, let's start about what is the nature, what's its structure like, who are these Tea Party members? And my guest today, by the way, is Mike Wilbourn, and you're from Kenosha. Anything else?
Pleasant Prairie. Yeah.
Okay, he is
Southside.
He's kind of a philosopher. That's what I like him on the show. Mike is a very interesting person to talk to, and he's got a seminar coming up that if this program gets out soon enough, I will have it up on the screen so you'll be able to see what it is too. But go ahead, Mike. You're kind of a member of the Tea Party, are you? Or you know a lot of Tea Party people? You've observed them?
I'm associated with quite a few people that have identified themselves as Tea Party members. I think what philosopher's furthest thing, I'm just a frustrated old plumber. It's really all I am. I started digging ditches when I was 13. Spent more than my share, 40 and 60-hour weeks out there, raised 3 good kids. I think I have got the frustration level of folks that identified that something is not right. We're not exactly sure what it is that is not right, but we started digging, and the more we dug, the more frustrated that we got, and started to understand that what this nation has become, from what we can see, is having a mandate from on high dictating to the producers in this society at all levels what they cannot do, what's right, what's wrong, and that's just not what I grew up as. It was not what I knew America to be as a kid. And the more that you dig, the more that you learn, the more frustrated I got. And so when we talk, people are leaders of the Tea Party. You see on, the Hannitys of the world, the O'Reillys of the world. They want to identify leadership positions within the Tea Party. Tea Party is individuals that have just gotten frustrated with the level of coercion at all levels of government that are telling us what's right, what's wrong, and we've never had issues deciding for ourselves what's right, what's wrong. We understand living a moral, responsible life. We've done so. We've paid our dues. We've given government its due to the tune of somewhere between 40 and 60% on an annual basis when you start looking at the federal, state, local sales, and we're about tapped out.
What's interesting though, Mike, that I find with the Tea Party, and this is what their opponents that I've observed cannot concede, that there is no organization. This is as spontaneous as you get. Agreed. Somebody sends out that first email and says, let's have a party, or let's go to Madison, or like there was one out here in Sturtevant, they had a big bonfire, so there's a little bit of that, but basically there's no membership, there's no structure, there's no recruiting. It's not like, you think of the Republican Party or even the Libertarian Party where you have all this structure. It does not exist, and there's not even a platform of any kind. So there's no central idea coming about, and this is what really distinguishes it from the old Newt Gingrich Contract with America, because that was a top-down thing. That started with the Heritage Foundation, that started with Newt Gingrich, Dick Armey, and there were some other people involved with it, and it came down and recruited people, and of course it disappeared quickly. But the Tea Party is none of that. It's grassroots. I don't even know how it started. Best I hear is somebody in Georgia or someplace, or Nevada or someplace, just said, let's go out and hold some signs, and it spread across the country. It's as spontaneous as you can get. There was no instigation, there was no central force, and there still is no structure to the Tea Party.
If I recall right, one of the things that really motivated individuals, if you go back to September 30th, 2008, September 30th, 2008, a lot of people I know were watching C-SPAN. C-SPAN on that day, they were voting for TARP. And the House of Representatives voted down TARP. I jumped out of my chair and said, finally, these folks in Washington, D.C. are listening. What did it do? At that point, it went from the House to the Senate. The Senate added another $150 billion on it, sent it back to the House, and TARP passed. This was under, if you remember, I mean, this was under Bush. This was under, I mean, so this is not, this is not a party issue. What this is a who is telling who what to do and who's benefiting. So shortly after that, I cannot remember, the commentator on MSNBC's was the one that had his tirade about bring these politicians to Chicago, to the Mercantile Exchange, and we'll go out here to the lakefront and we'll have a tea party. That was the first time that I believe the term tea party got stated, and shortly thereafter you started getting a lot of people that were just kind of new to the political process, not necessarily new to politics, new to the news of politics, but new to the process. And how have we gotten to the point where Washington, D.C. can create $850 billion out of nothing, give it to the banks, give it to the top dogs in industry who actually fund the campaigns of the boys that were voting for this $850 billion, and put it on the backs of my kids, the three that I've raised.
Pass it along.
And pass it down the road. And at some point, either the debt's either going to get inflated away, or these kids are going to have to pay it, because I mean, basically, we're tapped out, and these youngsters cannot be productive enough to pay off this. They keep on to talk about the 14 trillion we're in debt. Well, that was just raised to 15.2 trillion. Now then, it went and it's going to be raised to 16.4 trillion. Well, that is the debt. You look at the unfunded liabilities, that is incalculable to a large degree. I've read 75 trillion. I've read as high as 200 trillion. You look
Depends on what you want to include in that debt.
What you want to look at,
Yeah.
but that's money that has been promised to people that those people are expecting.
Right.
And
but what was interesting, Mike, and I want to get more into that as we go along with this, but what was interesting is that the huge numbers of people that just showed up.
That just showed up.
I mean, I saw some
Right.
pictures in
Washington,
I think it was
D.C.
Nevada, where they took up a whole section
Yep.
of the highway, like,
Right.
and some of the parades downtown Chicago, very clever signs,
Right.
too, by the way.
No, there
But
were some
just,
good ones, sure.
Just huge amounts of people, and they have all expressed all different kinds of viewpoints.
Mm-hmm.
But the point was that it was very spontaneous. There's no organization. It's just people voting for someone who they feel best represents their viewpoint, without belonging to a party, without saying, hey, you know, let's all vote this way. It's just each individual saying, hey, this guy sounds good to me. And the person, the politician can get up there and express what was the viewpoint of most of those signs, got an awful lot of elections. And I tell you what, it changed the face.
It changed the dynamic in 2010. I mean, it was basically, can you hear me now? Because we had been the silent majority our entire life. We don't have time for politics, to be honest, because we're the producers in society. We're the guys that are out there, you know, when the toilet's stopped up, we're running the router. When the lights aren't working, we're pulling the wires. What we do is basically get up out of bed in the morning at 5 o'clock, get home at 5 o'clock in the evening, try to spend a little time with the kids, try to spend some time with the wife. When baseball season's there, we're out coaching the kids' ball teams. So that's what I always felt my responsibility as a citizen in this nation was. But when I've never been one to just say, be dictated to. And we got to the point where it's like, if I don't stand up, they're going to continue to dictate, and my kids are going to have to deal with it. Do they know what I know? And am I just going to turn this over to my children and say, good luck? That's not in my nature.
And I think that's
that's a lot of the Tea Party people.
That's right. They've been watching the TV. As one of Tea Partiers here, I heard say on the radio, she says, I finally got tired of shaking my fist TV.
Right.
And I
You
went on
freaking
this side.
idiot, yeah, pardon my terms. but-
All right. Well, we're going to take a little break here, and then I want to come back and let's see what, as best we can, what maybe the philosophy of this Tea Party is. What joins them together.